Many years have passed since the Fellowship of Light battled the shadow creature at the Grey Havens. Now the heroes find themselves in an unknown land where they discover a man in black is wreaking havoc. Undeath follows him wherever he goes, and long-forgotten legends rise again, having been possessed by his evil. Join the players of this Dungeons & Dragons campaign as they attempt to stop the man in black as he collects artifacts both on and off the Lonely Isle. Welcome to Teleri in Part 2 of the Inglorion Bastards trilogy, Rise of the Mormon.
Our celebration is going to involve 5 events. This festival, this Nost-na-Lothion, which is the Birth of Flowers celebration. I'll explain a little bit about that. If you have these lore cards, you're welcome to look them up now, and you can be the one to explain them. But the main events, you pick one main event. So either archery, spear throwing, melee, singing / performance, or riddles. The archery is all going to be sort of close range. We're not going to do short, medium, and long range like we did last time. Spear throwing is going to be basically on the same map with the same targets. And so, Marco, under rules festival, there are rules for each of these events, or most of the events. And then there's going to be, I'm going to suggest 2 sort of additional ones, and the way this would play out sort of in the narrative and sort of the role playing would be that the elves would want to honor the Edine, the humans that had come to their shore that they're not used to. So they do this celebration every year. But obviously elves aren't going to do a drinking contest because they can't get drunk. But they would want to honor you, and they would say, hey, are there any other activities that you guys want to partake in? And I'm guessing, somebody would say, hey, let's do a drinking contest, right? Or an arm wrestling contest. Those are the 2 that I had anticipated.
Did we end up having a long rest?
Yes. Yeah. So let's do that now. But any other questions about what I've covered so far before we go into tonight?
Nope.
Marco, any questions from you?
No questions from me.
All right. So we're starting on day 19. It's May 4th, and you guys have been at sea for a while. In fact, I'm going to need... we're not going to do any more shadow rolls, but I'm going to have Tessero do 3 more trauma saves in order to get to Alqualondë. So just a quick recap. You guys, and you can roll these while I'm talking, Max. We ended the last session. You guys were at the Stone of the Hapless, the burial place of Turin, his mother, and his sister / lover. And if that sounds strange, it's because it's strange, and it adds to the sort of overall terrible life that Turin lived.
And we don't judge.
Well, so yeah. So I also don't want to ruin the story, but I once called Niniel his twice beloved, and that part's true. He was tricked by Morgoth into falling in love with his sister. They didn't know. And when they did find out, it was kind of like a Romeo and Juliet ending. She took her life, and it was bad all around. He lived a very traumatic life. So anyway, so you were in there, and the person that sort of watched over his coffin, and she was Nellis was her name, and she was his friend from a long time, all the way from back in Doriath in the kingdom of Thingol. She was a wood elf that sort of befriended him when he was a child. She explained that he was searching for these things to possibly bring something back, not necessarily to open a portal to anything. I think she explained that to you. And so you guys were, she suggested that you seek out the Teleri king named Olwë at Alqualondë. So if I were to show you this on a map, I think I showed it to you already, but let's see, the west as it was. Let's show it to the players. So you guys are at the Tower of Pearl right now, sort of in that long sort of arc of islands. You're in the center of that. Tol Eressëa is to the east, and even more northeast than that is Alqualondë, which is home of the Teleran elves. It is the capital of the Teleran elves. When you guys came ashore, you came ashore in Avalone, which is like a sister city. It's where the regent lives. It's another city of the Teleran elves. But the head honcho, the big cheese, if so to speak, is at Alqualondë, and he's the Olwë is his name. And so Nellis suggested that you seek out Olwë and ask him any questions that you might have, and you might have several, right? So you might have you might want to find out about these rituals. You might want to find out about a power source. Remember, there was some discussion about how he was seeking out a power source. He also needed that this man in black is Turin. He was woken by the shadow 120 years ago. And he has this broken sword, which is the sister sword to the sword that Faradir carries, right? He has what's the name of your Anglicel? Is that the what's the name of your Anguarel? Anguarel is your sword, and he has Anglicel, which or it was reforged as Gurthang. So he has this broken sword that he's trying to reforge. So you might have a lot of questions for him. You might even have some different questions for him. But he's a very old elf, and he's very knowledgeable and obviously connected to the other kings. And you also might want to ask him about this regent that was out to get you. So everybody caught up on that?
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep. I know sometimes you guys are like, I don't know what's going on, but I think that's pretty straightforward, right? You found out the guy that you were seeking out for the prophecy is the big bad guy, right? Or at least one of the big bad guys. And he's been traveling around, bringing people back from the dead, seeking out powerful objects. And you're not really sure what his end goal is. You know that Morgoth is going to come back at some point or wants to come back. But you're not sure what this man in black, what Turin is up to, or if there's even any Turin left. You're not sure how to save Turin. He's a part of this prophecy. He's supposed to be the one that kills Morgoth, right? According to the prophecy that you know. Right. But now he's bad. So
shouldn't he be pretty pissed at Morgoth?
Yeah, but he's possessed right now. So but there's a part of him left because he didn't kill Nellis, right? The woman that watched over him when he rose up out of the coffin. She says he spared me, so I know he's in there. But it was clear that he was sort of driven by this shadow. Okay, so you guys are at sea for 3 days. Max, did you do your rolls? Looks like you're good.
Yep.
All right, cool. So you arrive here at the beach of Alqualondë. You're in a place called Eldamar, and some of you guys, if you want to, 3 of you have this Eldamar lore card. Somebody wants to explain what that is. Don't all speak at once.
Not have it.
Somebody has Alqualondë and Eldamar and the Teleri. Okay.
I got Eldamar.
Alqualondë is the capital city of the Telerian elves. The king is Olwë,
Olwë.
Olwë. Swan boats are made here.
Okay.
And Eldamar is the area east of the Teleri Mountains to the sea. Is the name home of the Telerian elves, and in the city of Alqualondë.
Okay.
So it's the general area.
Yeah. Was there anything else in there? Eldamar? Nope. Okay. All right. So you guys, what's that?
Were there 3 or just 2?
I think you might have. Let's see. What do you have? Yeah, that's good for now. There'll be some others. So you guys kind of pull ashore. If you haven't rested, go ahead and do that. We didn't level, but you guys had 3 days at sea that was basically uncontested. Or a couple of days at least at sea, maybe 2. And you pull ashore, and there's a whole host of Telerian elves, and you're not sure what to think about this because the last time you ran into a bunch of Telerian elves, you guys were being chased out of Avalone. And you pull up on shore, and you're greeted by the king himself, who seems to know you're coming. And let me show you what he looks like.
Is he carrying shackles?
No, he's unarmed. Although everyone around him is armed, he's. Although you remember the regent had some sort of crazy lightning bolt power, and he didn't really need an arm of sorts. But he looks he welcomes you with open arms, and of course he greets MJ first. Because he's the elf, but you guys don't have to come ashore. But he sort of waves at Alce, who is your captain, and welcomes you ashore. And he says, "It's so you are the Nost-na-Lothion from Middle. I guess he would say not from Middle Earth. He would say from the east." And he says, "What sorts of trouble have you been getting up to these last 120 years?" Because remember, these guys they've been here in the Blessed Realm as you guys have traveled back and forth through the portal, and so for the last 120 years, 60 years each way, you guys have been sort of trying to find the shadow or trying to get Turin. So you came across through Tol Eressëa, and then you kind of disappeared for 120 years, but they know that you were doing stuff, right?
I kind of look at the others and I say, should we tell them? The man in black is.
Come on, guys.
Should we tell him? Hey, hello.
Everybody's muted. Not everybody has a dog to put to bed or a sleeping baby next to them. Come on, let's do it.
Is he putting the dog to bed again? Didn't he just do that? That's true.
Yeah, sorry, we have to be on mute for most because we have people around us. But
all right.
Cool down time.
So he would you would mention the shadow, and he would say, yes, news has traveled. When you tell him who the shadow is, he's disturbed by that.
Yeah, we were too.
Disturbed like he had no idea, or like disturbed like I heard?
No, he had no idea.
No idea.
I mean, he knows the prophecy as well, so he's deep in thought at that. And when you tell them that the Man in Black has traveled to Thangorodrim, or Angband, the place that Morgoth, his last headquarters was, he's even more troubled by that, because he knows it's not a good sign. No. So he says, please come inside. There'll be time to ask questions, but for now, you've arrived during festival. And he explains, does someone want to, he mentions the name Nost-na-Lothion. Maybe MJ would explain to you guys what this celebration is. Can you do that, MJ?
Not off the top of my head, but if I have I have a card. Okay, this is the birth of flowers. Now it's all coming back to me. It's been a while, It was a festival held in Gondolin during the early spring with a revelry of children. It was apparently held to celebrate the passing of winter. Right? Very common. Although it was the Noldor elves that celebrated it, now all the elves of the realm celebrated to honor the once great city.
Yeah, so the old city of Gondolin was in Beleriand, the part of Middle Earth that sank after the First Age, and Turgon was the king there, and he was the High King of the Noldor, and so which is a different kind of elf than you're with right now. He's one of the MJ's clan. He was the High King of the so you were very familiar with this festival, but now basically all of the elves of the Blessed Realm celebrate this in the spring to essentially acknowledge their lost kin, because they're all related somewhere down the line, right? What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, exactly. We're all the same.
Yeah. So there's that, and he pays a special attention to Tessero. And he says, "You are most welcome."
Oh, why?
He puts his hands on your shoulder, and he appears to look you up and down. And he says, "This is the season of the golden Malorn tree." And somebody has the golden Malorn tree. I don't know who. Not sure who has that. MJ, you have that one as well.
All right. Golden melon tree. Melon trees were similar to beech trees in that their bark was smooth and silver gray, but their leaves, which were green above and silver beneath, were much larger and longer than beech trees and turned to clear gold in autumn. All of the melon trees in Arda were descendants of
Laurelin,
the golden tree of Valar. The only place you will find them on Middle Earth were in Lorien and on Numenor.
And so you guys noticed, so if you're talking to MJ about this afterwards, you guys noticed that that Tessero's cloak has shifted in appearance slightly, and it's taking on sort of in some places like a greenish hue, and in some places a silver hue. No problem.
What was the significance of it? I've never seen that happen before.
You could ask him if you want, but no one's really saying anything. So Olwë was looking Tessero up and down and said, "You are most welcome here." And he mentioned the golden Malorn tree, and then come to think of it, after some discussion, you do notice Tessero's his cloak has changed color, which it hasn't done before.
Right. So I'm confused. Is it because he touched him? Is it because he's here?
What did you do to Tessero's cloak?
Yeah, come on, man.
He says, he says, if only I had that kind of power. He said the power that's at work there rests in the heart of the wearer.
Oh, nice.
But you're definitely taking on. He says, but you are definitely taking on the feminine qualities of Laurelin, and he smiles.
LOL. Huh.
And so he invites you inside. So let's move this inside. Move the party inside. And he says, he tells you that he sort of shows you. He walks you down the hall. This is not you're expecting to go to like a throne room, but he actually brings you in. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, God, I have too many folders here. Pictures, Alqualondë. I think I might have showed you at the end of the session, but can everyone see this? It's built up on off of the shore, and there's a great arch that Alqualondë is known for, and all of the ships have to come through this arch. And again, this is the place that the swan boats are made. So it's called the Haven of the Swans, the Swan Haven. And so you essentially walk up these stairs and into one of the main buildings, and again, you're expecting a throne room, but he doesn't, there's no sort of pretense or pretension or anything like that. He walks you in amongst his people who are celebrating, and you've never seen elves laugh and carry on like this. But they're all sort of in this festival mode. They're obviously not drunk because that's what you would expect, right, coming from Middle Earth. But they're here and they're all celebrating. They all welcome you in, and they tell you that they have some events coming up, and they explain the 5 events, right? The archery, the spear throwing, the melee, the riddles. What else am I missing? Let me see. Festival performance. How could I forget that? That's right. And he says we have some wonderful prizes that will. He looks at you and he says that probably to us some of these things are in our legend and our sort of folk tales. Even some of our people have never experienced some of these treats that we have for you this year. And to you all, they may seem even more strange and foreign. So in the archery contest, who would like to do that?
I'm in.
So that's the one you're going to do, Faraday?
So wait, can we each only do one, or is
one of the primary of the first 5?
Well, I'm probably not the best to do that one, but
What is it again?
Archery. You want to do?
Oh, I'll do. Yeah.
That's Tessero. Spear throwing. I'm going to say Josh would probably want to do this. Melee. Anybody else for spear throwing? No.
What's the check on that?
So spear throwing. I'll let you throw whatever weapon you normally use if you have a spear, and it's I don't. Yeah, no. You probably. I don't know that it would be your thing, although it might be as a druid.
Probably not.
I was guessing that you would probably do the riddles, MJ. I don't know if that interests you. Or we also have the melee, which you can use. Before it was wooden swords. Now it's any wooden weapon. Yeah. So if you're more of a finesse person and you use dexterity, if you're a strength person and you use big swords, they have all different style of weapons. Obviously, most of the elves are going to be using sort of light blades.
Can you?
I'll do melee.
Okay, so Burin.
Yeah, question. Can you use powers to boost up that wooden sword?
Just bow. Okay. Say that again. No magic.
Damn it. All right. Actually, I'll do melee.
Really, MJ?
I got 17 dexterity.
All right.
Almost the size of my wisdom. My wisdom's 18.
All right. And then riddle. Performance. I'm guessing Vic is going to do that.
Tessero can do that.
But you have to pick one, Tessero.
Oh, only one?
One primary.
One primary. You can all do the drinking and stuff.
Okay, well, Tessero either wants to do archery or drinking then.
Well, drinking again is not one of the primary. It's one that it's going to be an unofficial event. It's obviously elves wouldn't do this for the celebration, but anybody can do. It'll be sort of an after hours kind of celebratory contest. But
BYOB, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, performance. What's that? Is that charisma?
Yeah. Yep.
I'd probably do that.
No one's going to do riddles, huh?
I can do riddles and no one else is doing it. But... yeah.
All right, so we'll have Vic and John do performance. All right, so no one for riddles. So Tessero for archery, Josh for spear throwing, Burn and MJ for melee, performance Vic and John, and who are we missing here? Missing Faraday.
Yeah, I was gonna do melee, but I can do archery if no one else is doing that.
No, Tessero's doing it.
I'll do riddles, but I'll flip over.
We can make riddles. Everybody, can't we? Like a secondary.
How about we'll do riddles. We'll make it a secondary. That's fine. And so where am I moving? Who am I moving? So you're doing archery or melee?
I'll do archery. There's less people on it.
Okay. All right. Cool. And as always,
just a question. For melee, is it just a standard dice roll?
I'll have you roll a 1d8.
Abilities for.
I'll have you roll a 1d8 plus your strength or dexterity plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
And then for damage, the way and you can look in the rolls for this. Josh says I'm probably not making it at this point. I'm sorry. Okay, I figured. So for in that case, Josh is not in the spear throwing contest. Looks too bad. He would have liked that. All right. So we'll do archery, melee, performance, and then the damage is going to be for the melee will just be strength or dex plus it's the 1d8, and then the rule for this is once you're bloodied, they want you out of the contest because again, this is not about maiming or killing anybody. If they can tell that you're injured, so that bloodied is half of your hit points. So once you get to half of your hit points, you have to exit the melee. Is that everybody got that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a mean burn, right?
Yeah. Well, just you two, but there's going to be other elves in it.
Oh, right. I'm not fighting burn.
Yeah. Well, you might be in the end. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start. Let's start with archery.
Though this marks the end of the episode, the road goes ever on. Until next time, join us at longwinded.one and consider giving us a review on Apple Music, Spotify, or really whichever platform you choose.